Hey, welcome back, gentlemen. We got another StarCraft 2 game for you here with Killing Esports. My name's Inglewood. We've got a TvT tonight here on Metropolis. Starting out in the bottom, our Red Terran Millennium ForGG. Team Millennium, home of Dragon, my favorite Terran. Also ForGG, well-known character throughout the StarCraft universe. He's quite the character. He's got good personality. He's very involved with his fans. Known and beloved by all. He's facing off against Team Liquid's Taeja tonight, our blue Terran spawning in the north position. Taeja, one of the strongest Terrans in the game, had a good run for almost a year now. Really one of the top contenders for the Terran race. Frequently appearing in the GSL. This game, this replay, was pulled from the most recent Dreamhack tournament, which I still haven't watched. So the results are unknown to me, so I guess I'll be watching this for the first time with the rest of you. Got pretty standard stuff starting out so far. Taeja's dropped down this supply depot right by his mineral line. The advantage to doing that, of course, is you don't have to run an SCV all the way out to your ramp. You can just drop it down right here and then shrink it into the ground. It won't obstruct movement, and you can get right back to mining without losing any harvesting time. See a quick barracks coming out from him. It looked like it might have even been a little bit before 13 or right on 13, and he's going to get busy scouting. His opponent, ForGG, big surprise, doing the exact same thing, only he's got a gas up as well. And that gas must have come up quite early since it's already built and loaded up with SCVs. Usually we don't see the gas taken until 14 supply, but this one was up and functioning at 14, so maybe he even took that before his barracks. Barracks still not done yet, but on its way out. Looks like Taeja's going to be scouting in here and having a look around. He's not going to see anything wildly important, but he is probably going to click on that refinery and look at how much gas has been mined. You can click on your opponent's refinery and see how much gas is remaining, and then subtract that from the total amount that they start with and get a pretty good idea about how long they've been mining it. And if they've been taking a lot of gas, you know they're probably doing something tech heavy, or they're going to try and push out something early that's pretty gas intensive, and oftentimes that can give you a good heads up about what's coming your way. Taeja, he's got a whole bunch of minerals sitting around right now, and that's why. It just drops down his expansion. That's a quick expand coming out of him at 18 supply. That's going to give him a good economic lead if ForGG does not do the same. Taeja's had his look around. I guess he's satisfied. He's going to head home and get back to work. ForGG now, he's got a bit of minerals stacking up, but no, he just spent it. So he's going into a quick starport on a tech lab. So we can bet that he got that gas early for a reason. He's going to spend that on Banshees now. Maybe 1 or 2 Banshees. Perhaps he'll research Cloak. That's the big thing we're going to be looking out for now. The starport, pretty basic, but the tech lab is where we're going to find our answers. The Banshee can research a cloaking move, and that's a big amount of minerals and gas, a good investment. A lot of times people will skip it just to get 2 Banshees up and kind of hover over the enemy's mineral line and shoot down some workers. Cloak isn't always necessary, especially TvT. Oftentimes it's way too easy for the opponent to get up a turret, which provides detection, and that of course makes Cloak totally moot. ForGG's got a Hellion on the map here, chased down SCV from Taeja, so Taeja obviously knows this is coming in. We see he's well defended though. A bunker here in the choke point with a few Marines in it. That's going to keep his expansion pretty well safe from ground attacks. What it's not going to help him with, however, is this Banshee that's about to pop out. We're able to determine now that he's not researching Cloak, so he's just going to go for the air unit and hope that he can get enough damage done. But oh, look at that, a scan comes down. Taeja's going to see that Banshee pop out. He knows this is coming now, and we'll see how he prepares for it. I suppose, since he doesn't have an engineering bay down, he's going to be relying upon Marines to defend against this, as Marines are his only unit available for shooting at the sky right now. Meanwhile, he's also going to have to contend with some Hellions, so we see a 2-pronged assault coming in from ForGG. Those Hellions are going to contest this bunker here. He loses one right away, and ooh, Marines are set up and ready for the Banshee. This is a pretty good looking defense here so far. 2 Hellions do get through, as well as one more. Well, the Banshee's still up on its last legs right now, but we can expect to see that shot down any moment now. It's on its last legs. He will get away and maybe send that home for a repair, but let's see. Oh no, there's a Viking up, so he's going to shoot that down. Excellent defend by Taeja. Excellent defense. He knew exactly what was coming, and he was prepared for it. Got that Viking out, had the Marines in place, had that bunker down, and just having that base out so much faster than ForGG is going to put Taeja at a great advantage. We see the supply is pretty equal, but Taeja's got some more money sitting around, and let's take a look at resources. Okay, the income is definitely in Taeja's lead until this second base gets up for ForGG. How about units lost? Okay, so ForGG, oh, something just happened. Something just evened up. Resources lost just evened up right as I clicked on that. I don't see what died, though. I don't know what I missed there. Anyway, so I guess all said and done, things are pretty equal at this point. Taeja has a tank and small wall off here at his choke point, so that's looking pretty secure. He's going to just finish this wall off with supply depots, which he can raise or lower as he feels. He's got some mules coming down. He's going to start mining out those minerals at his natural expansion. See a big red blob across the map here. So ForGG moving out for a second push. He's got 1 tank and about half a dozen Marines. But it looks like maybe he's seen something that's going to bring him back, because he just changed direction. Taeja's got a couple of Hellions rolling in. I'm not sure what they're going to be able to find. His, oh, he's going to find undefended workers at the mineral line is what he's going to find, so he's going to be able to do great damage here until this tank comes and thwarts it. And might have been a little mistake from Taeja there. He was focusing attacks on that tank instead of getting as many workers as he could. Oh, and a Banshee floats in for Taeja and is immediately shot out of the sky as well. So some definite mismanagement here from Taeja. We'll see if he's able to pull back from this. He's down about 10 supply now, but he does have a good amount of money sitting about, so he'll be able to dump that into something shortly. We see an engineering bay coming up. He'll start working on his upgrades for those ground units. Meanwhile, he's putting up more barracks and got a couple of reactors here to produce 2 Marines at a time. He's got a tech lab on this one, so he's researching STEM for his Marines and Marauders. Moving that starport back. We'll see if he puts a reactor on that for double pumping air units. ForGG losing 1 Viking there real quick to these Marines, but oh, he's actually getting vision of this high ground using his Vikings. And so when he can see this top ground, everything below is free to shoot up at it, including this tank, those Marines. So he just kind of floated over the line there, and he was able to shell it from below. So he's got a pretty good looking push here with this tank supporting the back of it. Taeja, 1,100 minerals now. He's got a couple of tanks sieged up, but they're no good against these Vikings, and they're just being outranged by ForGG's push here, which is surprisingly effective. He's able to get down this reactor that was on this barracks, so that's going to severely inhibit Marine production for Taeja. And he's shelling this bunker here at the choke point, so he's going to be able to knock that down without taking any damage from Taeja in response. Taeja's pushing in with a big group of bio, but it's getting just shelled by these tanks here at the bottom. The single tank up top is getting a couple of shots off, but we'll see if that's going to be enough. Doesn't look like it. Still though, supply remaining relatively even. Let's take a look at the units count. The worker count is in Taeja's advantage by 5 units, so that's also not significant. So all things considered, pretty even looking. Although Taeja, with his big bank here, he's going to be getting the upgrades that ForGG does not have. So once that +1 attacks, once Stim finishes, I think he'll be in a pretty good spot here. Oh, these Hellions, look at him. Flamethrowers from below. But he looks like he's getting sandwiched a bit. ForGG getting sandwiched by a flank from Taeja. Tanks on the high ground and Marines pushing in from the natural. Kind of made a bit of a pincer move there, but it was enough to force ForGG back, so I guess he's accomplished what he wanted to. The supply gap is starting to grow, though. ForGG now 20 units ahead. He's going to head home, repair up, maybe add a few more units. Is this a third base we see coming down? Yes. So ForGG is adding on a third command center. He hasn't placed it at a base yet, but he'll be able to pick that up and fly it where he wants to once it's done constructing. And once that gets down and gets saturated, he's going to have an enormous economic advantage if Taeja doesn't follow suit. Oh, but Taeja has already made his third. Okay, so these players, they're on the level, man. They're both producing the same things at the same time. So the game is understood by both of them a lot better than I understand it, obviously. So now Taeja, for the moment, has the advantage, and we'll see his resources start to climb up out of the pocket. Let's take a look at units here. So yeah, SCV count pretty much even. The Marine count is severely in Taeja's favor. And he's got a few Marauders on top of that, but he has no air superiority. ForGG has that big count of Vikings, so that's going to win him the air battles. Taeja kind of scouting around the middle of the map here. He's sitting on this one Xel'Naga tower, while ForGG is on the other one with all these Hellions. Now the Hellions are a pretty weak unit, but they're extremely strong against Marines and other light units, so as far as this unit composition, their job is to just get up on top of Taeja's army and melt down his Marines. Bit of a push here in the middle. Taeja coming in from both sides. Tanks sieging up. He's got Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs pushing in, but oh, ForGG's just tank city right here, and he's shelling the shit out of everything. 3 remain. We got a bit of a tank standoff now. Mexican standoff with tanks. These Vikings are landing down. They have the ability to turn into ground units, as we can see. So he just drops them out of the air and shells that last tank from a safe position back here where he's not getting shot. So that was a brilliant move by ForGG, who is also sitting on just a ton of money right now. So he's got the small supply lead. They're both about equal on gas. ForGG has the definite money advantage, and it looks like he's got a pretty aggressive domination of the map here as well. We see he's got control of about 3/4 of the map, which is huge. He's keeping this barracks floating over his opponent's base, not to make any units, not to threaten anything, but really just to get vision of what his opponent is doing. He can see all of this, and he's not really at any threat of losing this because it's got so many HP. This is a 1000 HP building floating around pretty much freely, and if Taeja wanted to clear that out, it would take him a moment, so it's really not worth it for him. So ForGG looking pretty good here. Sitting on the money, sitting on the army, sitting on good scouting information that his opponent is not doing. Both players on 3 base now. Let's take a look at that unit count once more. Still pretty even as far as workers. 58 SCVs to 60, so their resources are probably quite even. But no, what is this? Taeja's resources are just abysmal. So he's mined out most of his main base. How's his natural looking? He's got... well, that looks pretty reasonable, I guess. He's fully saturated on his natural, but there's not a whole lot. As you can see, these mineral patches are getting kind of thin here, so in a few minutes he's going to have mined out of that, and he'll only really be getting minerals from this 1/3 base because everything else has been kind of sucked dry. In the meantime, he's pushing out with quite a big force. Big chunk of Marines. They've got combat shields and 1/1 upgrades. Good medevac support and some siege tanks behind them. Going to knock down this destructible debris here and make a push for ForGG's 3rd base. And what's waiting for him? ForGG's got 3 tanks up, 4 tanks up, but look at that, just melted through him instantly. He's coming in with a big group of Hellions, but that was too little too late. Only 1 tank remains on its last legs. This base had to pick up and fly away, the orbital command. So that totally halts mining on this 3rd base. In the meantime, we see some Vikings coming in, trying to take a few shots at Taeja's medevacs, trying to get his healing ships out of the air. But this big Marine army is going to defend them, so I don't see that happening. Bit of a Mexican standoff again here. A scan coming down for Taeja so he can see everything that's waiting for him. ForGG pulls some SCVs off the line to come and repair his mechanical units. He's just going to huddle tight and try and resume mining here. But Taeja setting up a flank. These are his reinforcements coming in. Headed off by these high ground tanks that managed to ward him off. He'll have to go around the long way if he wants to do this. That'll prevent the flank at least, which is good thinking by ForGG. But here we go. Taeja pushing in for that third. He must have stimmed his whole army. Oh, he stims it again. Every time he's using that stim buff, it's costing him about 10% of his health on these ground units, and you can see they're all really low. They're all in the orange or the yellow. These medevacs are going to have to dump their energy to try and heal this back up, but looks like both of these guys kind of afraid to commit, tentatively skirting around each other, just poking in and poking out, and trying to get their opponent to overcommit to something. I think Taeja's found himself in a bit of a hard spot here, though. How many tanks are these? That's 9 tanks are sieged up here for ForGG, and he's sitting on a maxed army right now. So he's not producing. He's just making money. Meanwhile, Taeja's still spending, trying to catch up to where his opponent's at. He's got this big pocket of ground troops here without any healers, and they're kind of stuck, so they have to go for it. They have to push in, but there's just nothing to do about this. Big old cluster of Hellions is going to melt those down real quickly. So ForGG thinks that he's done here. He thinks that he's got him beat, and he's going to push his opponent's base to find out, but Liquid Taeja's still got a few tanks back here that I think ForGG wasn't aware were in the neighborhood, so to speak. He's got a couple of Marines with him. They're going to try and shoot this command center out of the sky. Meanwhile, the big mass unit, ForGG's mass units, are going to just roll on his opponent's base. He knows that he's got the numbers advantage right now, and he's going to push it while the going's good. These Blue Flame Hellions are going to melt down this bio army. 1 tank is all that remains mech-wise for Taeja. There we go. We see some reinforcements coming up to support that single tank. So 5 tanks is definitely an ugly thing to push into with light units. However, we've got a tank standoff now. This is really the essence of Terran battles. TvT, it almost always dissolves into an hour-long, shitty tank standoff game. And sometimes a little air unit as well, but these are mostly just for vision. The tanks, they can shoot farther than they can actually see. So if you have another unit providing vision to these tanks, they become so much more effective. What have we got down here? Some more tanks, clearing out some other tanks. Taeja's still got a little bit of presence on the map. He looks like he might be aware that this 4th base for ForGG is heading out. He's going to try and cut it off, but he's getting just shelled. He lost it. ForGG was aware that these tanks were rolling in on him. But a good Bioforce sneaks back there when the tanks are distracted. And these Marines are definitely going to get this kill. Even if they lose range on this command center, it's on fire now. And that's going to continually lose HP unless ForGG can get a SCV repairing it. So it's down to 9, 8, 7, 5, 3, 2, 1. Boom, it's done. So good catch there for Taeja. That's going to prevent his opponent from taking that all-valuable 4th. Meanwhile, we can see that Taeja's got his own 4th up. He just needs to hold off this push by ForGG. What a game. Actually, no, Taeja's now taking the unit's lead. He's up by 30 supply. And he's in a real good position here to defend against this with a big chunk of ground units behind his front lines. So ForGG's attacking siege line here is actually surrounded. And look at this, medevac going to dump ground troops right on top of this group of tanks. And they can't shoot right next to themselves, so they are done. 1 medevac takes out, what was that, 3 tanks? Tremendous defense by Taeja here. He's got Thors out now at 2-0. He's got 2 weapons upgrade on Thor. Those are doing immense damage, and especially against flying units. Taeja's looking real secure here now. He's more than double his opponent's supply count. He's going to push back here and try and end this. And ForGG knows it. He taps out. That was an outstanding game. ForGG having the lead for most of the game. He had the superior economic situation. He had superior units a lot of the time, but that's the thing about TvT. When you get tanks facing off against tanks, it just makes one mistake and you lose your whole army to it. Some good play by Taeja there. That's why he's a top guy. Thanks for joining me. I'm Inglewood. This has been a solo cast. I'll see you next time.